Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. I'm at York Races ahead of day 2, and we're going to be previewing days 3 and 4 here with Charlie, Poste and Steve Jones. A bit blustery, as you may be able to hear, so apologies if so, but it doesn't feel like August at York, but we've been warmed up by some excellent racing yesterday, more over the next 3 days as well. As I say, we're going to be focusing on days 3 and 4, Friday and Saturday. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe wherever or however you are watching or listening. Day 3 then, first of all, 1.5 mile handicap to kick things off. Charlie, I apologise. I agree with you with Insanity, 13.0. Take it away.
I'm happy to hear that, mate. You know, respected judge yourself. So, no, that's all good. Yeah, I mean, look, as in, he's progressed well since returning as a 4-year-old, you know, he travelled, I thought he travelled really, really well at Ascot on his last start when he won, and he knuckled down well to beat Dream Harder, who reopposes today. I see no reason why he should turn the tables, and I just don't see any reason why this horse, who's lightly raced, hasn't got way more progression in him for a trainer that excels with this type of horse and a trainer that's in incredibly good form at the moment, Tom. So, yeah, Insanity for me. He was a little bit bigger, I must admit, when I went through the race, but even at 7.5, I'd still be very interested.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that is shorter than I had. I'd noted down 13.0. There you are. It's going to be my long shot, so maybe that's not going to happen now. And I thought their horse ran great yesterday as well. So yeah, I think I don't know what to add really. I think an improving horse should be perfectly suited by this test. Steve, who do you like and why?
You're starting to sound like Tony Calvin, lads, missing the price. I like Derry.
I tell you what, he lives in your head rent free, doesn't he? Go on.
He doesn't.
He does.
Always talking about TC. There you are. Do you go to sleep at night? I wonder what Tony's doing. Anyway, go on.
I think Derry Lad is very, very interesting. Fast ground, 1.5 miles is just what Derry Lad wants. And he hasn't had it since he won at Pontefract last year. He's trained in Ireland by Kevin Coleman. And, excuse me, he had a couple of goes over hurdles, but they were on soft ground. This season, I thought he should have won at Epsom on Oaks Day. Hayley Turner had him trapped behind all manner of horses. And then by the time he got out, he flew home down the outside. The runner-up Paradias went on to win at Goodwood in a competitive handicap. So the form that solid. The only reason he's been ignored in the betting is because he finished 18 of 18, tailed off at Galway last time when the ground was way too soft and he was held up in a race where you just couldn't come from off the pace. So ignore that, and he's got a right chance. And I haven't checked what price he is at the moment, but he was about 15. So I'm hoping he's still that and hasn't collapsed. He's 13. He's 13.
13.0 there. 13.0. Right. We move on to the Lonsdale Cup. Again, I'm in agreement with Steve here. So let's kick off, Steve, with Point Lonsdale. My starting point for the race was not him. And then just watching him back the last few times, you know, sometimes he's done a lot of work on the front end and found it tough late on. But if you look at his last win, he looked like he had loads left, and I actually think he'll be really suited by this sort of distance. What do you think?
Well, his full brother, he's very similar as in Broome in that he's got a high level of form, but when he stepped up in Trip Broome, he perhaps ran even better. So you just get exasperated trying to take these O'Brien horses on and then watching them winning. So it's a bit of a boring selection. But I think Point Lonsdale will win. Vauban, they've sort of come unstuck going to Australia, and he came back this season and he's run okay. But I mean, you wouldn't be worried too much about him, and the rest just don't particularly appeal. Align the Stars has been doing well, but needs to jump into group races, and is jumping into an all-age group too. So. Yeah, Point Lonsdale, boring, I know, but I think it probably will.
Just to go back to Insanity, you can still get 12.0. So there is still with Matchbook there is a price knocking around amongst some bookmakers to shorten up a bit, but there's still a price there. I don't really want to add anything to Point Lonsdale. Who do you like, Charlie, in the Lonsdale Cup?
I can see Point Lonsdale. I put down Gregory. It's not a race that I have a huge opinion of. I think it's pretty crappy. I think they're all sort of slightly below top class. I couldn't have Vauban after his last run. Gregory, I thought, started the year off well at York. The Gold Cup was a bit of an anomaly. I'm not sure what happened there, but I thought the run at Goodwood behind Kyprios was perfectly acceptable. There's nothing, for all that I respect Point Lonsdale, of Kyprios's level in here, and it looks a decent enough opportunity for him to pick up a win, which he's found hard in recent times, Gregory. But like I say, it's a trappy race and not one that I've got a massively strong opinion on.
Alrighty, that's the Lonsdale Cup. Moving on to the 3 o'clock. This is the Gym Crack. You two are with Shadow of Light. So look, I'll kick off with the Striking Viking 5.0. I came back from Goodwood thinking that the horse wanted 5, and he probably still does. But here, when it's quick ground, you just got to be on the front end. And I actually think his class and speed will get him through. Be really suited to this track. I think he'll lead from start to finish, and I don't think they'll get him. So I am going to side with the Striking Viking. Stall 10 Stall 10's not ideal because he's on the outside where you haven't wanted to be. But then I think if you're on a front runner, you can go where you want. So I think that it'd be more of a concern on a hold-up horse. The Striking Viking for me. Charlie.
Yeah, decent race this, isn't it? And I think the Striking Viking, if you ask James Doyle, honestly, I think he'd love another go at that Goodwood race. I thought they went quick early and he kind of pressed early enough and sort of left him open to a closer. For me, though, I've gone with a slightly less exposed one, certainly at this level in this group company, Shadow of Light for Charlie Appleby and William Buick. He's unbeaten in 2 starts. I thought the last time at Newmarket, I loved his action, loved the way he went through the race. Looks really uncomplicated with bags of toe and finished off strong in a race that has a history of producing stakes performers. This looks the obvious step up for him, and he's related to a dual Group 1 winning 2-year-old in Earthlight as well. And again, the Yard have won this a couple of times in the last 10 years with some smart horses. Again, most notably Blue Point. So yeah, Shadow of Light, I'll be pretty strong on him now. I think he's very exciting.
Steve.
Yeah, I was just surprised he wasn't favourite, to be honest. Symbol of Light. And like Charlie said, Charlie Appleby's run 2 horses in this in the last 9 or 10 years, and they've both won. And he just looks class to me. You got to respect the likes of Big Mojo and the Striking Viking have both done it in better races in this sort of grade in group races, but be amazed if Shadow of Light isn't somewhere there.
Okay, moving on from the 3 o'clock to the 3:35. This is the Nunthorpe. Steve and I are in agreement with Bradsell. Charlie, you can take it away actually first of all. Big old price, Starlust, 17.0. What's the angle?
Yeah, I mean, look, you're up there, Tom. It looks blustery. It'd be even better if there's a bit of rain around for Starlust. I think it would help his chances. There potentially is a little bit from the forecast I looked at.
They are going to get there. So speaking to Anthony Lee, clerk of the course, they're expecting a chunk for about 4 hours tonight, which will, I don't think it will change it loads, but it might take a bit of the good to firm out. So yeah, there's rain coming tonight.
Yeah, and look, he ran a perfect, respectable race on quick ground at Goodwood on his latest start behind Big Evs. I thought the track didn't really suit him. He got bumped a couple of times at the wrong moments, finished off well enough. He's looked a little bit quirky. He had the blinkers on once at Royal Ascot, which didn't work. But at York this season, over 5 furlongs, he's unbeaten, 2 wins. And I just thought 17.0 was too big. He's drawn next to some pace. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a heap of pace in here. And Living the Dream, I think, is drawn near him. If he can keep tabs on him, I think he'll be finishing off really well, this horse. And like I said, as a 3-year-old, he's still thoroughly exposed himself. And I thought he was too big for all that. This is a step up in grade for him. And it's ultra competitive. It's a really good race, I thought.
That's Starlust. How sweet on Bradsell are you, Steve?
Well, it breaks my heart a little bit to go against Big Evs because I think he's fantastic, but stall 14 wouldn't be ideal, right? Yeah, it's just, and the fact that they're going to go very, very hard, and Big Evs will be involved in that pace. And I just thought Bradsell, he's been there and he's done it. He won, he beat Highfield Princess in the King's Stand last year. He's just had the one run this year at Deauville in a listed race, which I thought was a perfect comeback. He doesn't mind what the ground is, whether it's fast or slow. And I just think he's got a very good chance. And hopefully, yeah, he's going to give it a good go. But Big Evs, he's kind of heart over head. I'd like to see Big Evs win, but I just think it's going to be a bit tricky for him this scenario.
We're exactly the same. So I was all out to put up Big Evs, and the draw has put me off a touch. There is just so much pace. I can see it setting up and loads low as well. I can see this just setting up perfectly for Bradsell, 7.5. Yeah, so, and he's won here before. So, yes, 7.5. Bradsell. I'm going to put another horse up at a massive price in the Matchbook Zero long shot section, which is exciting. Where are we going next? Yes, the Fillies handicap. No bet for Charlie. I'm with Power of Destiny. I thought she'd have gone pretty close last time at 6.0. I mean, extra half a furlong, fine. But she wants quick ground. She'll have more, she just have this track. I think will suit a bit better than Goodwood. More of a test here. I think she'll reverse the form with the winner that day. And 6.0, she's still a win and place price. Not a massively strong shout, but off the back of last time, I think she'll go very close here. Steve, you're a big price.
Yeah, Dream Rocker's a big price, really big price down the bottom of the weights, and steps up in distance, which I think is going to be perfect for her. She's been running over a mile, and she's been running well over a mile. She was a winner at Ascot when she was very strong. Then she got going too late at Sandown, which when the pace holds up at Sandown, it's hard to come from the back, even though it's a stiff finish, and that they spin off the turn and sort of get away from you. And that's what happened to Dream Rocker. And also, she's bred to keep progressing. She's trained by Ed Walker, and Ed Walker had a horse that won Group 1's called Dream Loper, and she did it when she was a 5-year-old. So she kept getting better, and I think that's what's going to happen to Dream Rocker. And I'm expecting a chunk of improvement for her stepping up to 10 furlongs.
That's Dream Rocker at 26.0, Power of Destiny for me at 6.0. Right, that's day 3 done. Any other bets? Steve, first of all, 520 at York. I don't. You've literally just been talking. Like I don't.
Yeah, I know. You came back to me. You confused me, but it gave my
literally a 50-50 chance
to load anyway. But
Let's
Treasure Time in the last for William Haggis, who's drawn right on the rail. I thought that the race at Goodwood that Treasure Time was 5th in. Yeah, it was a really rough race, and he kept getting, to start with, he got shuffled back, and then when he's trying to make ground up, he got involved in a lot of that trouble and stayed on really well in the closing stages. I think he's much better when he's ridden prominently, as he showed at Newmarket when he won over 7, and when he was beaten a neck at Newmarket by First Conquest, a Godolphin horse. He was mugged on the line that day, a Godolphin improver. So I think a track that's flatter, I think the undulations didn't help him at Goodwood. They all were rolling around. I think he's got a decent chance of bouncing back. So Treasure Time in the 520. Charlie, where's yours?
Yeah, we're hoping that William Haggis is going to double up in the last 2 races. Realign in the 4:45 for me. I'm like I say, I'm a big fan of Shadow of Light and the Gym Crack, and the 2 horses that he's beat up to now, Ultra Soul and Realign, actually oppose each other in this maiden. But Realign was bought from the Breeze Up sales, but looked very, very green at Newmarket on debut over 6. William Haggis's horses often step forward significantly for their first run, and this step up to 7, I think, should suit. And yeah, I just thought of the pair of them, he was the one from his initial run looked the most likely to progress forward. So yeah, Realign, I think he's about 7.0. I thought he was really interesting.
Okay. Marco says if it rains heavy, then Bradsell, but if it's fast, track record on Big Evs. I think we're not going to be dealing with slow ground in any way, shape, or form. It might just, if we get rain tonight, might just take the sting out of it a bit, but it'd be a drying day. Bloody wind. tomorrow as well. It's forecast to be. Matchbook Zero time. Matchbook Zero long shot. Don't forget Matchbook Zero goes live at 10 a.m. each day. You're most likely to be getting best odds because Matchbook Zero enhances the fact of the exchange being lightly bigger prices anyway. Zero margin, zero commission. Check it out for a win bet from 10 a.m. Mine is Frost at Dawn. I think she's massively underestimated in the Nunthorpe. Her form at Maidan as a 3-year-old was very, very strong last year. I was really impressed with her. And she's just been a bit forgotten about because she hasn't run since. 67.0. Steve, your Matchbook Zero long shot.
Dream Rocker in the 410, who I'm expecting to improve to go up to 10 fill.
Well done. You fastest finger first. You did really well there, Steve. Charlie, who's your Matchbook Zero long shot?
Starlust in the Nunthorpe as well.
All right. Best bets. Mine's the Striking Viking in the Gym Crack. Steve, your best bet?
Derry Lad in the first race, about 13.
Charlie.
Realign in the 4:45.
Moving on to day 4, we're going to kick off with the Strensall Stakes. I like Engfar. So do you, Steve. He's got to be good enough, hasn't he? He went to pot at Goodwood. He was never in the right place. He was unfortunate. He was going to be my best bet of the day, but he's yours. Why, Steve?
Because he's got very strong handicap form, and it's at York. The John Smith's Cup tends to be one of the hottest handicaps of the season, and I don't think he'll have any problem stepping up to Group 3 level against some horses that I don't think set particularly high level. I like you, I thought everything went wrong, and he did extremely well to be beaten just a neck at Goodwood in that Chesterfield Cup, which I think is strong form as well. And the form makes sense because Enfjar had Take Heart and Tony Montana, who were either side of him at Goodwood behind in the John Smith's Cup. So I think his true level is a bit higher than he showed at Goodwood, and he's got York form, which is always a bonus. So yeah, Enfjar.
Racing Lee says, good luck, lads. Good luck to you, Lee. Hope you had a good first day and a good second day and final couple of days as well. Charlie, you're with a 15.0 show.
Yeah, Phantom Flight for me. I must admit, going back to that, I was surprised Jim Crowley didn't pick that lad that you guys like. As in, I thought he was the pick of the two Shadwell horses personally. But yeah, Phantom Flight for me. Two really good runs for George Scott, beaten Alassi at Newbury on his first start for them, and then he travelled really well, and then I thought just got done for toe in a really tactical race at Goodwood where they sort of hacked and sprinted. I didn't think there was loads of pace on in this race, and hopefully again down in trip, Callum Shepherd can pop him out, give him a really positive, aggressive ride, and yeah, I think he still seems to be a horse slightly on the upgrade for the George Scott team, and I thought the price was too big. Phantom Flight 15.0.
Moving on to the Melrose. I'll kick off because I'm going to put up a couple here. First of all, going remote at 17.0. That's going to be my long shot on the day as well. I thought off the back of that Ascot success, like I know he's won recently, and therefore maybe you think, he's gone up another little bit. But I thought he was good. We know he's in form. An Irish horse I think has got to be feared in this. The cheap pieces going back on seem to suit. The wins have come by and large in cheap pieces, and but just remains progressive up a further £5. The other one is an obvious one really in the form of Dramatic Star, who I don't know if I put that in the document yet, but I'll add it now. Obviously last time who knows what would have happened, and hopefully it hasn't sort of affected the horse's confidence slipping last time, but was sent off favourite that day, just has a lovely profile coming into this. Seems to want a quick ground, ideal profile for the race, and can still be supported at 8.0. So those are my two. Charlie.
Yeah, I was nearly going to put Dramatic Star up myself because, for all those reasons that you've said, the last run you just put a line through. But just with this being ultra competitive, I wanted to be playing something at a slightly bigger price. And so similar form lines to you with the going remote form. I've gone for Champagne Prince, the horse that yours beat on his latest start at Ascot. He seemed to improve dramatically, this horse, for the step up to a mile and a half. And again, it wasn't Rachel Venica's fault, I don't think. It just was a race that was dominated by the ones that had been in the first two the whole way out round. And I thought Champagne Prince did really well to split them and finish second on that occasion. The way he finished off suggests that this extra 2 furlongs on the long straight at York should suit him really well. And a 15.0. I thought Champagne Prince was interesting. And like I say, I wanted a horse that I could play in the win and place market.
Steve.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with the likes of Dramatic Star and Wild Waves. They were the two that slipped on the bend at Haydock in that race, won by Align the Stars, who showed that form was very strong at Goodwood, and it now could even be heading to the St. Leger. And interestingly, Too Bossy for Us, who was second to Align the Stars, having been third to Align the Stars at Thirst previously, so ran to a similar level, probably slightly better, was runner-up in there. So given that he's the longest of the three, I don't quite understand it, because Wild Waves and Dramatic Star would have had to gone some to finish in front of Too Bossy for Us in that race. So I think given that Align the Stars form from Haydock and Goodwood is as strong as any 3-year-old handicap staying form in the country, I think Too Bossy for Us has got a great chance.
Okay, that's Too Bossy for Us, Champagne Prince, and my two. What does Marco say? Haggis has hinted his horse wins the Melrose. Let's hope so. He's not normally that confident either, to be honest. City of York next. I thought this was just a bit of a head wreck, too tricky for me with the lightly pace. Although for me, it's between Audience and Lake Forest. So you guys are helping out there. Steve, Audience, first of all, 2.9.
Yeah, I just think he wins, doesn't he? He's a Group 1 winner in the Lockinge, and he absolutely bolted up in the Lennox last time when he had Art Power and Kinross behind him. He's just, I mean, there's some suggestion this should be a Group 1 race, this 7 furlong race, City of York, but he's a Group 1 horse, no doubt. I just don't see how he doesn't win.
I'm not sure Kinross is quite the horse of old. Charlie, who do you like?
I mean, she's saying he doesn't see how he doesn't win. Well, he doesn't win because I think Lake Forest does, if I'm honest. Is in he won the Gym Crack here last year. He's ran 2 really good races over 6 the last twice, being in a Sherrin and elite status. And I think the step up to 7 furlongs is exactly what he's after. There's, again, a lot of tempo in this race, and it should help him to relax and really finish off. So, yeah, Lake Forest, I thought, was very interesting at 4.0.
Right, moving on to the Ebor. Just 2 horses going up here. Stall 1 for our shout, Magical Zoe. I'd picked the horse out before the draw, and I think off the back of the county run, it's just obvious, like it's just so clearly there why the horse will go very well. But I don't know whether one is I suppose I'm not negative. I don't love it, Steve.
No, it's not ideal, is it? But that is what it is. You tend to be able to win the Ebor, although it's been wide draws. You can win it tactically from anywhere. Trawlerman made most of the running. Others have come from midfield. Others come from right off the pace. But you'd imagine that they'll go a solid tempo in this. And Magical Zoe is a very smart hurdler. I always thought that decent ground and a decent pace is just what Magical Zoe wants. Totally unexposed on the flats. Won it a maiden at Down Royal on decent ground, and then ran a really good race in a Group 3 at Fairyhouse last time behind Grateful, a horse of Aidan O'Brien's, who wasn't beaten far, I suppose, at Goodwood, but might have been a little bit disappointing. But that's still group form, and a lot of horses that have won the Ebor have come into it off the back of group race performance, and that's what Magical Zoe's doing it, and she's completely unexposed. The other one I like at a massive price is Chillingham, who has worn a hood for most of his career, and it comes off. And I like that move, especially in a race like the Ebor, where they do go hard and there is a lot of cover. And if Chillingham settles off the back of a 3-month break, he has won fresh in the past. I think I've got a funny feeling he'll go well at a big price. But my main one is Magical Zoe.
26.0. I put Chillingham in as your long shot, Steve, because that was empty, and I feel I've taken that upon myself. I hope that's okay. Charlie, you're with the likely favourite or near enough?
Yeah, Epic Poet. I mean, typically understated, Steve, about the draw. You know, it's not ideal, but it is what it is.
Depressing, really. Charlie.
Yeah, big poet for me. He's 9.0. Again, I did this before the draw. He's drawn 16. That in recent years is not a problem at all, and especially with his run style, he'd be ridden patiently, I'd imagine, by Danny Tudhope. But not had many starts for the David O'Meara team, but the run behind Crystal Black in the Duke of Edinburgh, where he stayed on really well to be second, was a really good effort. And then again in the John Smith's Cup, down in trip behind Enfijar, I thought was eye-catching. He finished fifth, but again was slotted in. And the way the race panned out didn't really suit him with them tacking over, I didn't think. He had a lot of horse in front of him. And just this step up and trip, I thought was of a patient ride that he'll undoubtedly get up to a Marne 6. On pedigree, I thought it should be within his compass, and I just think he's shown it already. He's nailed on to win one of these big pots, Epic Poet, and hopefully it's on Saturday.
Right, moving on to the handicap at 410, 6 furlong handicap. I'll kick off with El Monjan. I think the key has been the blinkers, or hopefully. He ran really well here a couple of starts ago in June with cheek pieces on. 7 furlongs probably stretched him the time before that. Although he sort of ran on okay, but he's definitely been improved back to 6 furlongs. Nice big field or suit, and I really like the blinkers going on because they just seem to have livened him up a bit, and that's definitely what you want here. And that he's potentially well drawn as well low. So El Monjan at 8.0. Steve?
I think it's a really tricky race. I'm going to go with one of the 3-year-olds in 2 Tribes. Richard Spencer's horse is generally running really well. And 2 Tribes has been running well as well. Probably found 5 furlongs a little bit too sharp in Ascot last time. Previous to that, it run a solid race over 6 furlongs at Newmarket, and I think this sharp 6 might just be absolutely ideal for 2 Tribes.
Charlie, 9.0, shot Dare to Hope.
Yeah, backing up after the great St Wilfrid win last week. I thought he's run well at York before. I thought he did really well to win at Ripon because it looked for certainly about 100 yards out, like the couple of them on the far side had it. He sort of drifted over to them, and then I thought seemingly won readily, suggesting again that there was more to come. And now he's got his head back in front. I think the draw is fine. I thought there was still movement in his price again, backing in win and place, Dare to Hope. And as Steve said, it's ultra competitive, but probably nothing less than you'd expect.
Okay, moving on to Matchbook Zero long shot, 10 a.m. each day for a win only bet. No better place to go for value. 0 margin, 0 commission. Going remote for me in the Melrose. Steve Chillingham, that'll do, will it?
Well, you're the boss, so I'm going with Chillingham.
Good, yeah. You can stay on mute the rest of the show. Charlie?
Phantom Flight in the 150.
And does that bring us to best bets? It does. Mine's El Monjed in the 410. Steve, same colours?
Yeah, Enfijar in the first race, the Strandsall Stakes.
Charlie?
Lake Forest in the 3 o'clock.
Well done, everyone. That's our final 2 days at York previewed for you. Hopefully lots of winners, and have a fabulous rest of your week. Bye-bye.